Grand evening, everyone. It is January 8th, 2026. It is 45 minutes after midnight. It is 0 hours and 45 minutes in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. And we've had massive new developments and further breaking news since the last time I reported, which was when the U.S. invasion of Venezuela was underway, when they went and got the socialist dictator, President Maduro, from wherever he was hiding. I believe it was his home, or they may have been sleeping at the time. A lot of people say they were sleeping when they were caught by the U.S. Special Forces, which they also called it a police operation, a law enforcement operation. That's what they called it there in Venezuela. Okay. Just had to look at a couple things there. You're going to get right into the further breaking news. So, we've heard from reports, especially the UK report there, that martial law has been declared in Venezuela. So, the military have been deployed all over Venezuela. I heard that they are going around arresting all of those who support, stand by, all of those who support uh, President Trump and the administration and all of those actions that are going on there through the US. So they're rounding up the people who support the US and their actions and the opposition to the now vice president now who controls Venezuela. It is a female vice president that has the same kind of mentality, many of the same ideologies as socialist dictator, president, as they called him, Maduro. So we have martial law in Venezuela and even a potential coup. This was just a video of some air defense, I believe, going off in Venezuela. For some reason they were firing like air defense there. That's what it really looks like. And then here's that report from Polymarket that there's a possible coup underway in Venezuela. So I know that I've discovered that some of the people there are resisting. They are forming a potential coup. There may be a coup that is underway in Venezuela, or it is a becoming a revolution like what is happening in Iran. Iran, there's pretty much a full-blown revolution going on there now. The Iranian government is losing control of cities and other similar places in the country of Iran. The people are really taking back the country of Iran so far. The US and Israel may strike Iran very soon. It's been reported that it is very possible. I've seen pretty much rumors that the US and Israel are preparing to strike Iran again. They'll probably target a lot of strategic locations and maybe even try to get the dictator there in Iran, which would be very interesting. That would be it would cause a lot of geopolitical problems, especially with the Russians and the Chinese. They would absolutely not accept that if the US tried to do the same thing to the Ayatollah Khomeini there in Iran. And here we have a humanoid robot. We have a humanoid robot. They have these robots in, I think, some warehouses in certain places and companies. It is highly advanced. It can move in a lot of different directions and do certain things that humans cannot do already. And these are just some of the first years of robotic development.
Atlas's first time in public, and as you can see, its walk is pretty natural and pretty smooth. We've partnered with our sister organization, the Robotics and AI Institute, to push the limits on natural walking just for this performance. And I think we've done something really special. We've also been at this robotics thing for a while, and we've learned that there's more to it than just copying nature. We can pick the best parts of what nature has to offer and do better in others. So as you can see, Atlas here has joints that can move 360 degrees. This lets Atlas move even more efficiently than humans, particularly in manufacturing environments where every second counts. We've also designed Atlas's head and face very purposefully. We want folks working with Atlas to know that Atlas is a helpful robot. Atlas is.
So, combining AI and robotics, that is what Boston Dynamics has developed a humanoid robot that helps do warehouse work and certain other work. I forget the company. I've seen a video of a robot, potentially this one, working somewhere already, replacing human jobs already with robots. Uh, I think specifically it was this robot. In other news, this is some of the best news. The average price of gas in the US has fell. It has fallen to $2.81, the lowest level in 5 years. I heard it's the lowest level since 2021. And here we go here with the Iran situation. Iran has reportedly deployed its elite Saberin special forces to Alam province, where rioters are armed with Kalashnikov rifles and shotguns. Kalashnikov rifles are AK-47s usually. I don't know why he called them Kalashnikov rifles. Uh, Usually they call those AK-47s. So some of the rioters and the protesters in Iran, they were called protesters for a while. Then they're called rioters. They aren't yet called revolutionaries. I do believe a revolution has formed in Iran. This is still all ongoing. The armed protesters, the armed potential revolutionaries, are taking over cities in Iran and liberating them from the Iranian security forces. Once again, with the price of gas, it is lower than $2 in multiple cities across Texas now. Very low, very, very low price of gas right now. You could drive like anywhere with $2 gas. This was a great point, really great point. When the lights go out, all TV, Wi-Fi, 4G, LTE, and 5G services will go out also. And this guy was saying the emergency broadcast radio will go live. And you put those Fallout 2026. It's a great point, though, especially talking about the TV, the Wi Fi, all of those services when the lights go out. It's a matter of when. People need to prepare for when that happens. It is a matter of time until that happens, especially in this new kinetic phase after Venezuela. After Venezuela happened there, it kicked off the full direct kinetic phase of World War III. The Chinese have warned the US to break the blockade there. It was a final warning. So the Chinese may start to take action in that area and Taiwan. And the Russians have said a while back that they'll fully support Venezuela, which they tried to do with an oil tanker earlier. And there was an oil tanker that headed straight to the northeast of the Atlantic. It was trying to get into Russian waters. And the U.S. Special Forces intercepted it. They followed it with the Coast Guard, the U.S. Coast Guard, and they have captured, they have seized that oil tanker that was moving with a Russian flag to the northeast, trying to get into Russian territorial waters. That is a massive escalation, and it may result in direct conflict now with Russia, very much so. Some of the Russians are saying that they will use missiles to sink several U.S. ships because of what happened there in that oil tanker. And that is the least and the start of what the Russians will do. They will likely do much more than just sink several ships that they find, whether it be in the Navy or U.S. oil tankers. The Russians are absolutely enraged by what happened with the oil tanker going to the northeast. It was crossing the Atlantic. UK fighter jets also assisted in the capture of that oil tanker. And we have this here for domestic news from Remarks. More people are fleeing California than any other state, the New York Post is reporting as well. So people are fleeing New York and California, especially due to their very similar policies, very high taxes, very strict rules that both of the states have. California taxes higher than most places in the world, especially this country. That is for certain. California is seemingly looting the people that live there as much as they can. They're taxing the wealthy in a massive way. They're forcing them out in a massive way when it comes to taxes and nearly looting the wealthy in California and most other people there. California has become a total, it's very similar to Venezuela now in California. It's like a communist or socialist country over there in California, except it's a state still. Though I don't expect California to be a state for much longer, they could secede at any time. They're a tremendous state that could possibly secede. And there on the picture is Governor Newsom. That's the man in that picture. That's the governor of California who robs, loots, taxes very highly the people of California. Between the taxes and the expense, it is insane to live in California. So many have left California. There's been mass exodus of California the last 5 years or so. There's the California flag there on the right. Then we have this here as that tanker that I was just speaking of. Russia is threatening the US with a missile strike. It says here from Alexei, not going to try to pronounce that, and I quote, a military response is necessary. An attack with torpedoes and the sinking of several American ships. That's what he said. That he's one of the deputies of the Russian State Duma. This guy intends to sink several American ships with missiles as a military response to the capturing of the tanker that left Venezuela and went to the northeast trying to get into those Russian waters. So we have that. We have very unusual flight activity with the military. There's lots of rare flights. There was 2 combat sentinels up in the air earlier. 1 or 2 of them may even still be flying now. We had some kind of recon plane that was east off of Washington, D.C. That is also a very rare event. We've had lots of very rare flight activity the last day or so. The It is very concerning. The transponders to those planes were turned off. They turned off the transponders so they could not be tracked. The actions and the movements that they were taking could not be tracked on flight radars when they turn off those transponders. So, highly unusual, very concerning, very rare flight activity from the US Air Force, maybe the US Space Force. Though I think it was just the US Air Force. They were military planes that some of them turned off their transponders so they could not be tracked at minimum. Let me see what other further news that I could find. Let me see here. Stand by. I'm seeing from Polymarket, Tim Walz has declared, he says, war against the federal government. I think that's the Minnesota governor who ran as, I think, the vice president to Kamala Harris. Crazy stuff right there. Um, Speaking of that, I nearly left it out. In Minnesota, there's mass unrest all throughout Minnesota. They are pretty much fighting the ICE agents and the other federal agents in Minnesota over all of the deportations and them doing their job. There is an army of people that have been protesting and just straight up unrest in that area. So we have mass unrest and I think it was Minnesota. There was a shooting there. One of the federal agents shot a woman, and that is really what spiked that very much so to where it is now. Let me see here. For right now, the administration is working on it, though for right now it says the US housing market has reached its most unaffordable level in history. There's a chart from 1890 to 2025, also from bar chart. Interesting. The Schumann resonance has gone into a whiteout the last couple of days. It is very high, nearly immeasurable energy on the Schumann resonance. That's what that is. Very high vibrational new energy. Let's see here. This is crazy, crazy stuff from a long time ago that used to be done. They're saying that Baron Trump, President Trump's son, should marry Princess Isabella of Denmark so that Greenland would be given to the US as a dowry. This is a potential option that is being considered. President Trump really wants Greenland. Maybe he'll even give his son in marriage between the US and Denmark in order for that to happen. Crazy stuff that is right there. That's what used to be done in medieval times between kingdoms and empires for alliances and land. It is a very old way of obtaining land and even countries, places like Greenland. Crazy stuff that is. President Trump announced that looks like $1.5 trillion military budget for 2027. I heard President Trump, not heard, I saw President Trump has increased the military budget by 50%. That is a very good thing to do. That is very needed for these times. And this happened not long ago, too. I did see this. There was 8 shot and 2 killed in a unalived in a mass shooting at a church in Salt Lake City. I believe it was a funeral that shooting happened at in Salt Lake City, Utah. Here we go with this here. I've seen a video of this. This video went viral. The protester was going for the federal agent's weapon in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He, he tries to grab it. I think that was it wasn't really a weapon. It was like one of those pepper spray launchers, like pepper launchers. I don't know what substance they used for that, but that's what he was trying to grab. That's what he tried to take from him. People are really, really angry there in Minneapolis, Minnesota, at the ICE agents and the other federal agents that are operating in that area. I paused it at like the perfect time there. It was like 2 seconds later. He he drew that launcher of some kind and shot that guy in the head with it. It's a non-lethal weapon that definitely had to hurt, and it was not comfortable experiencing that for that guy, that protester. Oh wow. This was recently reported. The Giant is on the move. Belgorod. This is a very special Russian nuclear submarine. It just apparently set sail to the Caribbean carrying 6 status 6 Poseidon nuclear tipped torpedoes capable of making nuclear tsunamis. So this is the submarine that could make the it's a doomsday submarine. It can make the radioactive nuclear tsunamis. It has the Poseidon torpedoes, the nuclear Poseidon torpedoes on the Belgorod. That's what this has. That is what this giant, as they call it, Belgorod, is doing. It's going to be protecting 5 Russian flag tankers. Since Russia is really running out of oil and gas, they've become that desperate to deploy that to defend them. That can destroy entire cities along coastlines. That's what it is used for. What it may be used for, it's likely going to soon be used for. They could use that, cause a radioactive tsunami to wipe out Washington, D.C. In its entirety. There it is. As the Canadian prepper said there, it's only the first week of 2026, and all of this is happening. We are still in January. It is January 8th. We are approaching the second week of January, and all of this is happening now. Let's see if we have further breaking news. Let me see here. Stand by 1 second. This is initially a live stream recording that is posted to my YouTube channel. Let's see here. Yes, I told you all there is thousands of protesters and community members within Minneapolis, Minnesota. The that Tim Waltz, I believe he's connected to Minnesota. I think he's the governor there. They said he declared war on the federal government. We could be looking at the very beginning of a civil war if he extends those same ideas to other states like Chicago, Illinois, he could convince maybe Illinois and California to act and rise up in the same way that he's calling for, and that he's supporting all of this happening in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Pretty hard to see, though there's thousands of people on the streets there in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Thousands of people. There's mass unrest in Minnesota. Interesting. President Trump is possibly exploring ways to issue $2,000 checks to Americans without even congressional approval. That's interesting. That would help a lot of people. As this person said, yep, so it begins. That it's begun after Venezuela. That's exactly what happened after the military action, that operation that happened in Venezuela. Oh, here we go. Seattle. An hour ago, as I was just saying, in Seattle now, people are doing the same thing in Seattle, calling for the death of federal agents, which is a serious crime in itself. What they are all doing is criminal. They've recently made it criminal to chant that and organize. Just doing what they are doing now is totally criminal. It is not protected under the First Amendment anymore. Things like that, especially going as far as saying that that's not protected under the First Amendment. It is not likely protected. I don't know that 100%. I don't think that's likely protected because what they're calling for against federal US federal. So people are uprising. There's mass unrest throughout the country as far as the corner of Seattle. I will be monitoring that situation and the World War III situation as it is definitely further developing and escalating. That is crazy breaking news there.
Death, death, death to us! Power to the people! Death, death, death to us! Resistance! Resistance is for us!
These recordings are apparently from Seattle, Washington. Wow.
Death, death to us!
That's oh my. That's just really, really it really could get to a civil war level if these people grab weapons and start attacking ICE in the way that they are calling for. So, once again, this has been going on for about 40 minutes now. This update is nearing the 40-minute mark. I will be back soon with further updates as things are very much still developing and escalating. Thanks for watching. Please keep on preparing. Do not get complacent. We are in the new total direct phase, total direct kinetic phase of World War III. And we have a possible civil war developing here in the US when it comes to some people not liking federal agents and their actions and calling as far as death to them. So keep on preparing. Do not get complacent. Learn new survival skills. I always recommend physical assets, though it is your own personal decision. I am not a financial advisor. Gold, silver, land, and ammunition. I hope to see you all on the next update. Thanks for watching. Love, light, and blessings to you all.